はい、皆さん、こんにちは。今日は、通りを勉強します。So, for example, it was as I expected. You can say, 予想通りだった。予想通りだった。or, 予想の通りだった。予想の通りだった。So, when it's a noun, you can say, noun の通り or noun 通り。Like, 予想の通りor 予想通り。So, for example, it rained in the night as the forecast said. Okay, so do you know how to say weather forecast, 皆さん? It's 天気予報。天気予報。So, how do you say it rained in the night as the forecast said, 皆さん? It's 天気予報通り夜雨が降った。天気予報通り夜雨が降った。or 天気予報の通り夜雨が降った。天気予報の通り夜雨が降った。But also you hear people say 予報通り or 予報の通り。We sometimes don't say 天気予報 and just say 予報 because it's shorter. So you can also just say 予報通り夜雨が降った。Okay, so have you ever heard someone say その通りその通り So we use it when someone said something and we want to agree with that person. Like, exactly, I totally agree with what you said. Or I'm sure you have heard of this. いつも通り。いつも通り。Which means as usual. Like, for example, Satoshi arrived late as usual. You can say, サトシはいつも通り遅れてきた。サトシはいつも通り遅れてきた。These expressions その通り and いつも通り are coming from this sentence pattern. Okay, for example, how do you say it went well as planned? It went well as planned. Okay, do you know how to say it went well, 皆さん? It's うまくいった。うまくいった。So, うまくいく is to go well. So, うまくいった。And do you know how to say plan, 皆さん? It's 計画。計画。So, 予定 also means plan, but 予定 is more like schedule. So, when you want to say, I have a plan today, you would say, 今日予定がある。今日予定がある。But 計画 is more like a plan for a project, like a plan to achieve something. So, in this case, we would use 計画。Okay, so how do you think you can say, it went well as planned, 皆さん? It's 計画通りうまくいった。計画通りうまくいった。Okay, so the common nouns that we use with 通り are, for example, レシピ通り、計画通り、予定通り、アドバイス通り、予想通り、希望通り、etc. Okay, for example, if you cooked something following the recipe, how do you think you can say? Like, I cooked it as recipe said.It's レシピの通りに作った。レシピの通りに作った。or レシピ通りに作った。レシピ通りに作った。So we add に particle after 通り like 通りに when you say to do something as blah blah like to cook as the recipe says レシピ通りに作る。or for example, I did as you advisedアドバイス通りにした。アドバイス通りにした。So when you say to do something as blah blah, you can use 通りに blah blah. But for example, like the sentence before, it rained in the night as the forecast said. It's 天気予報の通り夜雨が降った。You don't need に particle here because it's not like you're saying I'm gonna do something as blah blah. It's more like as forecast said, this happened.You can also use verb with 通り like for example 私が言う通りに書いてください。私が言う通りに書いてください。Write as I say. So a teacher would say to you like 私が言う通りに書いてください。Write the things as I say. Maybe you have heard an arrogant anime character say 言う通りにしろ。言う通りにしろ like do as I say. You can use the past tense as well. Like for example, how do you say as I thought the exam was easy? As I thought the exam was easy. It's 思ってた通り、テストは簡単だった。思ってた通り、テストは簡単だった。So when it's past tense, you can use た form of the verb plus 通り。た通り。Or for example, I exercised as my trainer told me and I lost 5 kilo. You can say トレーナーに言われた通りに運動したら5キロ痩せた。トレーナーに言われた通りに運動したら5キロ痩せた。So I was told or someone told me. In Japanese we say 言われた。言われた。And たら is used to express the result of something. トレーナーに言われた通りに運動したら5キロ痩せた。I exercised as my trainer told me and then the result is 5キロ痩せた。And actually you can also say トレーナーが言った通りに運動したら5キロ痩せた。But when someone tells you something, it's more natural to use the passive voice. So it's 言われた通り。言われた通り。Okay, another example. How do you say I cooked as my mom taught me, but I failed? Okay, so when you want to say as my mom taught me, we usually use the sentence pattern でくれる or でもらう to show appreciation for someone's action. Do you remember these? So, my mom taught me, you can say お母さんに教えてもらった。お母さんに教えてもらった or お母さんが教えてくれた。お母さんが教えてくれた。I'm not gonna go into this てもらう and てくれる here, but basically when someone does something for you, you can use てくれる or てもらう。So here let's use お母さんが教えてくれた。So how do you think you can say I cooked it as my mom taught me, but I failed? It's お母さんが教えてくれた通りに作ったけど失敗した。お母さんが教えてくれた通りに作ったけど失敗した。Okay, let me summarize it for you. So when it's a noun, you can use noun の通り or noun 通り。And when it's a verb, you can use た form of the verb or dictionary form of the verb like 言う通り or 言った通り。And when we say to do something as blah blah, we use 通りに like レシピ通りに作る or トレーナーに言われた通りに運動したら5キロ痩せた。Okay, 皆さん, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, please hit the like button. And if you like to improve your Japanese fast, but you don't really have time to study, or you simply don't like to sit down and study with a textbook, please check out my sharing audio product. With this course, you will not only learn Japanese verb conjugation and sentence patterns fast, but also you will improve your speaking skill. I teach the most powerful grammar that you need to express yourself in Japanese, and I'm also teaching a lot of vocabs and expressions that are actually used a lot in real life and sentences that you would actually use in day-to-day life. And the focus is to help you connect with your friends in Japanese, so I do teach how to say things formally in the audio, but unlike a normal textbook, the sentences are all in casual Japanese, and you can listen to it anytime, anywhere. So my students listen to my audios while they are exercising, cooking, commuting, doing the normal chores in the house. So even if you don't have time to sit down and study, you can still learn Japanese with me. No excuse. Whether you are a basic level learner who needs a tool to self-study Japanese in a fun way, or an intermediate learner who is struggling to communicate in Japanese even though you know the basic and a lot of sentence patterns and a lot of words, this course will get you to the point where you can confidently communicate and express yourself in Japanese and connect with people in Japanese. Okay, here is what people who use this course say.
So I've been using Miku's Real Japanese products for a couple of months now, and they are incredible. So I had no idea how beneficial it was to be speaking and saying out loud Japanese words and sentences until I started listening to a shadowing audio on the way to work. And while I do get a few funny looks on the train for whispering some Japanese phrases, I actually have, my progress has shot up crazy amounts. If you are looking for a way to improve your Japanese, I'd 100% recommend looking into Sensei Miku's products, and honestly, she's so lovely and you will not be disappointed.
I've been traveling to Japan for over 20 years. I've lived there for 4 years. I'm currently the president of our Japan office. One thing I really like and appreciate, and has helped me personally, is in every audio she goes beyond just the pure lesson. She expands upon the concepts and the vocabulary, giving you background information. This truly has helped me to remember the lesson better. And more importantly, it's been really overall a fun and enjoyable experience. Of all the lessons that I've taken over the years, Miku Sensei's practical approach to teaching has really finally helped me to understand the everyday Japanese that people speak 80% of the time.
Years ago, I fell in love with Japan, and ever since I've been trying to master the language. But along the way, I know I've missed and forgotten so many things. But Miku Sensei's lessons and her shadowing audio drills are so easy to understand. She's always so encouraging, and she really knows how to keep it fun too. Even in the most elementary audio lessons, I always find things that I'd forgotten or had never really fully understood. And speech patterns that were once mechanical now seem to flow more and more naturally. It feels so good when a Japanese friend says, "Wow, it seems like your Japanese has jumped to the next level."
Okay, so if you really want to improve your Japanese fast and save a lot of time while self-studying Japanese, please check it out. The link is in that description box. I put a lot of love and my passion to teach Japanese into this course, and it took me thousands of hours to create this course. So I hope it's gonna help you to express yourself in Japanese, and most importantly, I hope it's gonna help you to connect with your friends in Japanese. Okay, so see you in the next video. またね。見てくれてありがとう。